You make decent money. Maybe you earn $70,000 a year, or $100,000, or even more. By most measures, you're doing well. You have a job, a car, an apartment, or a house. Yet somehow, at the end of each month, the account feels empty. You're not spending recklessly. You're not buying yachts or designer shoes. You're just existing in the middle, and it costs everything you have. This isn't a personal failing. It's not that you're bad with money. What you're experiencing is the hidden architecture of middle-class economics, a system engineered so that the more you earn, the more you're required to spend just to maintain your status. The middle class exists in a narrow band where you earn too much to qualify for assistance, but not enough to escape the cost structure that was designed for you. Below the middle class, costs are lower because expectations are lower. A working poor family might spend less on housing because they rent a smaller unit in a less desirable area. They take public transit instead of owning a car. They buy generic brands. Above the middle class, wealth creates options. A wealthy family can afford a nicer house, yes, but they can also hire people to save them time, negotiate better rates on insurance, and access financial strategies that reduce their tax burden. The middle class, trapped in the middle, has no escape hatch in either direction. Consider housing, the largest expense for most middle-class households. When you reach a certain income level, you're expected to move to a neighborhood that matches that income. You can't stay in the affordable neighborhood where you started. Social pressure, school quality, property values, and self-image all push you into a more expensive area. A $150,000 house becomes a $350,000 house. That's not just a house, that's a $200,000 obligation. Banks will happily give you a 30-year mortgage because your income qualifies you. But now your housing cost has doubled, tripled, or quadrupled, even though your actual housing needs 4 walls and a roof hasn't changed. This is the middle class trap in its purest form. Your income rose, so the system raised the bar on what's considered acceptable housing for someone like you. You didn't choose to spend more. The system chose it for you. And because everyone in your income bracket is doing the same thing, the median home price in middle-class neighborhoods reflects this collective acceptance of higher costs. You're not paying for better shelter. You're paying for the social marker that comes with it. Transportation follows the same pattern. A working poor person might own a 10-year-old Toyota. A middle-class person is expected to drive a 5-year-old sedan or SUV that costs $25,000 to $40,000. A wealthy person might drive a luxury car, but their wealth absorbs the cost in ways that a middle-class salary cannot. The middle class is caught in the reliability sweet spot. Your car needs to be reliable enough not to break down and cost you your job. But you can't afford to buy a luxury brand that holds value. So you buy the depreciating middle option, the $30,000 vehicle that loses 50% of its value in 5 years. And you do this repeatedly throughout your life because you need transportation and you need it to be dependable. Childcare, education, and healthcare expenses reveal the same architecture. If you have children and earn middle-class income, you're above the threshold for subsidized childcare, but below the threshold where you can afford to have a parent stay home. So you pay full market rate for daycare, which can run $1,200 to $2,500 per month per child in many cities. A wealthy family might pay even more, but their total wealth absorbs it. A poor family might qualify for subsidies that reduce their cost to $200 or $300 per month. You pay the unsubsidized rate, the full price, because you're middle class. The same applies to education. You can't afford private school for your children, but you care deeply about their educational outcomes. So you move to a neighborhood with a good public school system. This drives up housing costs by 20 to 40% compared to neighborhoods with average schools. Your education choice is built into your housing cost, which is built into your income requirement, which is built into your career path. Every decision compounds into higher obligations. Healthcare costs hit the middle class differently than other groups. If you're poor and employed, you might qualify for marketplace subsidies that make health insurance more affordable. If you're wealthy, healthcare costs are a smaller percentage of your overall wealth, and you can afford out-of-pocket expenses without financial stress. The middle class pays the highest percentage of income for healthcare because you earn too much to qualify for subsidies, but not enough to have wealth to absorb unexpected costs. A $10,000 medical bill that's manageable for a wealthy person is a catastrophe for a middle-class family. Retirement savings adds another layer. Financial advisors tell you that you should save 15 to 20% of your income for retirement. This advice is mathematically sound, but practically impossible for most middle-class households because all your other costs, housing, transportation, childcare, healthcare, education have already consumed 80 to 90% of your income. You're told to save what's left, but there's nothing left. A poor household might not have retirement savings expectations because they're not expected to retire. A wealthy household can easily save 15 to 20% and still live comfortably. The middle class is told they should save money they don't have. This is the psychological weight of being middle class. It's not just about money. It's about the constant awareness that you should be doing more. You should have more saved. You should be investing. You should own your home instead of renting. You should upgrade your car. You should take your family on vacation. You should have an emergency fund. Every financial decision comes with the implicit judgment that you're not doing enough, not saving enough, not planning enough, and yet you're doing everything right. You have a stable job, you're paying your bills, you're not accumulating credit card debt, but the structure itself ensures that you never get ahead because the definition of ahead moves further away every time you take a step forward. The economic truth is that the middle class isn't a destination, it's a treadmill. The speed increases with your income. When you earn $50,000, the expected cost of living for someone in your position is one amount. When you earn $80,000, it's higher. When you earn $120,000, it's higher still. The system is designed so that your obligations rise with your income, ensuring you remain perpetually in the middle, never accumulating enough wealth to escape to a different cost structure. This isn't accidental. It's a result of how housing markets, education systems, and consumer expectations are structured. Understanding this changes how you view your financial situation. You're not failing because you're not saving enough or earning enough. You're experiencing the mathematical reality of how the middle class cost structure works. The path forward isn't simply to earn more. Earning more will just trigger the next level of expected costs. The path forward is to recognize which of these costs are choices and which are structural, and to make deliberate decisions about which obligations you accept and which you reject. Some people choose to live in a less expensive neighborhood and take that gap as actual savings. Some people choose to keep their car for 10 years instead of 5. Some people choose to opt out of certain consumer expectations that their income level suggests they should fulfill. The middle class isn't poor, but it's not free either. It's a system where you're expected to look successful, act successful, and maintain the markers of success while having barely enough income to cover the costs those markers require. The wealthier version of yourself is always just out of reach, and the system ensures you never quite get there. Recognizing this isn't pessimistic, it's clarifying. Once you see the structure, you can choose which parts of it you want to participate in and which parts you want to resist.